Hi, I'm Larry McAtee, Ward 3 City Councilman, and today we have a very timely program, a very important program that each of us needs to kind of think about as we look to the future. We have with us Steve Williamson. Steve, President of EMSA.
That's correct.
And EMSA stands for?
Emergency Medical Services Authority.
And it's a very important part of the quality of life that we enjoy here in Oklahoma City, isn't it?
We take that very serious, that job of providing ambulance service to this community.
And so we're going to be talking about that. And then with Steve, we have Laura OLeary. And how do you pronounce it if we were from Ireland, Laura?
OLeary.
OLeary, but we'll call it Laura OLeary today.
That's good enough.
And we've been talking off camera, a graduate of Lawton High School and OU.
Yes.
And your title with EMSA is?
Director of Public Information.
And so you're going to be sharing some public information that we all need to know, aren't you?
Whatever you want to know.
Hey, that's a good deal. Steve, what's your responsibility in EMSA?
As president, I oversee the 16 different cities that we serve, the major ones, Oklahoma City and Tulsa, to be sure that our subcontractor, the person we hire to provide the paramedics and EMTs and maintenance people, perform under the strict guidelines of our contract, and also to do the billing for the service. We enjoy, because of the hardworking people of Oklahoma and the people that we've been able to hire, a very high collection rate for a public service. And what that means is we have less requests for subsidy. We have no city subsidy in this service at all, or city tax dollars. And we're one of the few major metropolitan areas that have achieved that.
Now you say that you oversee the subcontractor. That's been an exciting challenge in the last 90 days, hasn't it?
It has. The public utility model is the term used to explain our type of system, and that's to give the protection to the public, having the public entity, the trust, who owns the equipment and writes a request for proposal or contract, if you will, that's performance-based. It says how they should practice the medicine, and we use physician input for that totally, and then response times, and then how they would do clinically to teach their people and so forth. And it's our job to be sure that's done. If they didn't do that, there's financial penalties, and then of course there's the final thing, if they would have a breach of contract. Since we own the equipment, it'd be transparent to the public, service would go on, and then we would go and rebid for a new contractor. So it has a lot of provisions of safety for the citizens.
Now, you said rebid the contractor. You just went through a, quote, rebid to the contractor.
We did, and we had amazing results. We had two very fine bidders, Paramedics Plus, who has been here the last 15 years, and American Medical Response, which is the largest in the United States. And they were very competitive. We used a panel of 9 individuals to score it. Staff was not responsible for that. And we used expertise from the outside with that 9 to review all aspects, first clinically. Clinically was what was important. Pricing was done after clinical was reviewed. And from that, we received a large reduction in our cost. We're foreseeing an 18% reduction in our cost with the same quality of care and the same, if not more, hours on the street of ambulances. So it was a very well done competitive process.
Now, when you say clinical, for an average citizen, what does that mean? You were investigating the clinical aspect of the service.
Well, this system has always from the beginning used the emergency physicians to control how we practice medicine. And they hire a medical director, and in this state, every paramedic and every EMT and every first responder operates under the license of that medical director. And who better to review our work are the doctors who receive our patients. So we have a very tight clinical aspect to this service. It even became more evidence-based, if you would, we contract with the University of Oklahoma School of Emergency Medicine and Community Medicine to provide that medical director. So we've had at our availability the university, which we requested a white paper. The white paper was to review everything that our service does clinically and tell us if it's evidence-based, that means it's peer-reviewed, and clinically will give us the best outcomes. From that, we put all that information in the RFP. So we feel very confident that with that university participation and evidence-based medicine that we practice, that we're giving a true, strong service to the citizens.
So it's more than just sending an ambulance out there, picking up a citizen, and then turning on the red lights and getting him to the hospital. You're actually practicing medicine throughout the whole
Absolutely.
episode.
You know, a lot of us remember, as well, some of us are as old as I am, that remember the shows on television, and it was a load and go and scoop and run type service. And our scene times, our total time at task on ambulance transport is about an hour and 15 minutes. And 15 to 30 of that's at the scene doing different things that the doctors wish us to do. So when they get to the emergency room, these things are already provided for them to continuation of the care. Everything is in our protocols, what we do at the scene. It's a very organized dance, and the things that happen there help the physician when the physician gets the patient. And that's something that a lot of citizens don't recognize, is that it's a continuation of care. Matter of fact, you know, as a board member and as a city councilman, you know our cardiac arrest rates are very high here as far as reversal. And what we have found, the true first responder is our dispatcher. Our dispatching people are some of the best clinicians we have. And over the phone, they have delivered babies. They have instructed people how to do CPR. So the whole gamut, from the time you call to the time in your emergency room, is a planned experience. And from that, we get very high outcomes.
Now, part of that, that dispatcher is asking questions when he or she's on the line responding to the call. They're making also a determination as to whether or not to send the fire people out, are they not?
Correct.
And what's the parameter there?
Well, we use a national, actually it's international base of questions that are repetitively looked at each year. And it's important, I know from calling myself, that you wonder, as these questions going, why aren't they sending an ambulance? In fact, they have. There's actually two people. There's one asking questions, one listening, and as soon as you call, the ambulance is en route. And through these questions, we know if it's serious enough case, they'll also send our partners. Our partners are the fire department. And we're all on the same mission. We have different phases in that mission to accomplish. And as first responders, they get notified and go. And because of the placement of fire stations, they're usually there first and use their expertise to start things that we continue on with once we arrive.
Now, in the transport, Laura, I've got a pet peeve. What would you say to somebody driving down the street when he or she hears an ambulance siren? What should they do?
Pull to the right as safely as possible. Not stop in the road and not, get overwhelmed by the lights, but gently pull to the right so that the ambulance can pass by safely on the left.
See, that's why we brought you on the show, for that gentle touch, because I would have just said, get out of the way, because that's my pet peeve.
Well, as you know, there's a lot of congestion in the roads and a lot of traffic, so it can be tricky, and paramedics sometimes have to go into oncoming traffic and navigate through. But most times, motorists hear us with our new howler sirens, which have a higher sound to them and a vibration. They're able to hear this sound or feel the sound and move to the right and allow paramedics to get to the emergency.
And part of that evidence-based medicine that you're practicing, we just kind of changed our goals on response times, didn't we?
We did. For the last 35 years, we've been 8 minute and 59 second on priority ones, life-threatening. As I mentioned earlier, this practice of medicine has evolved over that 30 years, and now there is plenty of evidence-based medicine to indicate that is an overkill and doesn't increase, the big thing is it doesn't increase outcome. And clinically, at 1059, which we're moving to, with the close coordination of first responders and the fire department, we will maintain the wonderful outcomes that we have. And we've reduced the number of times fire departments are going on calls, so they're available for those important ones. So when we talk about EMS today, and especially in this area, in this system, it is a system. Fire, Fire and EMSA have the same quality assurance program, same medical director, the same protocols. So those transitions are seamless, just as they are in the emergency room. So we're very proud of that. Many communities, there's a constant issue of turf and things like that. And I can truly say that the chief here and myself and the medical director are worried about patient outcome and not turf.
Shameless commercial, we're blessed to live in Oklahoma City, aren't we, to have this kind of support?
Yes, you are.
Now, as a citizen of Oklahoma City, Laura, I've got to make a decision during the month of September, don't I? How about sharing with our viewers, what do I need to think about?
Until the end of September, Oklahoma City residents can determine that they want to participate in the TotalCare billing, which is a small utility fee, $3.65 attached to their water bill. And with that $3.65, should anyone in their household, they or their household, call 911, their out-of-pocket expenses are covered for a transport, which is a huge savings. A transport can be as much as $1,200 plus mileage, and that helps them know that they should call 911 and feel comfortable in calling 911 and not have to worry about a bill.
Now, we have people who are in a lot different living situations around, and without trying to answer all the technical questions, you might be a homeowner like I am and live in a single-family dwelling. You might be like my mother-in-law in an assisted care area. You might be living in an apartment. What's the number that citizens can call to check on their status and then see what their decision really should be?
It can be confusing. There are a lot of different dwellings. The best way to find out your particular situation is to call 297-7100. That's EMSA's corporate number, and they'll get you to the right person who can help identify your address and tell you what you need to do to make sure that you're in that TotalCare billing.
Now, I have a certain status right now with my TotalCare billing, and if I don't do anything by the end of September, what's going to happen October 1?
You will still be enrolled in TotalCare.
Or if I'm not enrolled, I'll still be unenrolled.
Correct.
I guess we need another shameless commercial here. You're better off with TotalCare coverage than any other insurance-wise or anything else, aren't you?
Well, it can be scary. I think a lot of people are afraid to call 911, and they're also concerned about the bill. And that's not something you need to worry about in emergencies. And here in Oklahoma City, it's a pioneering new mechanism to ensure that you have that bill covered. And also, EMSA doesn't rely on any subsidy from the city or the general fund. This money really makes EMSA unique in the United States and a solid company without having to rely on any money from the cities.
And then that RFP that you went through in selecting the new contractor, that's allowing us to keep that TotalCare rate at the same figure it was last year for the next several years because of the efficiency and scale and the professionalism of the new contractor, isn't it?
Yes, we were able to reduce our cost 18%, and by doing that, we're going to keep all of our base rates and the utility fee the same.
That's good. That's good news.
It is good news.
One other piece of good news, but while we still have the time, if somebody's watching and they have a school or a group out there and they'd like some paramedics to come out and give some instruction in the latest techniques of emergency medicine, what number can they call to arrange for the paramedics to come out and visit with them?
It's that same number, 297-7100. We have a kid ambulance that we bring to the schools that has a little a scene painted on the ambulance so that children feel comfortable. We have a pink ambulance that we can also bring out. It helps children learn to feel comfortable about being around medics, and should they be in an emergency, having met medics and having been able to crawl around in the back of an ambulance and hug a paramedic allows them that feeling of comfort when they are in an emergency.
Great service. Appreciate you all having that open to our people. Steve, thank you for coming down and visiting with us. Laura, it's always a pleasure.
Nice to see you.
I hope you've caught a glimpse of the blessings that we enjoy here in Oklahoma City because of EMSA and because of the new paramedics that are going to be out there on the streets. May God bless you as you continue to serve the public to deliver the best possible emergency medical care that you can. And may God bless you as you go forward and make an intelligent decision on what you're going to do with TotalCare for the next year. Thank you for watching.